Off script, with jab on the mic. Every story, every stumble, every late night rewrite. Pull back the curtain, hear the real talk. Off script with Jarvis, jab on, let the conversation start.
Bro, what you been up to, man? I know you've been on the move and getting to it.
Man, ironically, as much moving as that's normally happening, like right now is a lot of locking in here at home. Being here with the wife, getting her ready for her shows, a lot of programming, a lot of studio stuff, a lot of recording. Not a lot of road stuff since March, the last run with Reneé. Once I got back from that, it's been like a couple of in and out things, but for the most part, definitely home base. And it's been really grounding, I will say, like,
Okay.
because I don't know if we talked about it, but like we had bought a home in 2025. So
Congrats.
thank you, bro. So at the top of 2025 to now, it's just like finally being able to enjoy home for a while. Because as soon as we got in the house, the next day I was gone.
You was out of there.
I was out of there. So this year I've been able to enjoy home. And so it's a blessing, man. It's a real blessing. Because it's the rest of the year gets pretty moving. So I'm enjoying it, bro. I'm enjoying it.
How's that
Yeah.
transition from home or from tour to home been?
It's been cool, when you have a talented, creative wife as well.
Yeah.
A lot of the being away, like, because she's focusing on her thing, I'm focusing on my thing, but we're still a unit. So finding that healthy balance is often pretty cool. It's challenging, but it's cool for us because in a lot of ways, if we have rehearsals or different things where I'm stationed somewhere long enough, I'll fly her to wherever we are.
Right.
And it kind of works out unless she's gigging or doing whatever it is she's got to do. But I think it is a little different at first because you get used to moving so much that you fall in love with the go.
Yeah. Yep.
And for me, I am like, she's that way too, where it's like, I'm always ready to just go, man. Like, if I feel like I'm at the house too long, like, I just got to drive down the street, or I got to go to the gym. I got to go wash the car. Like, it's just that movement thing that, like, you get to that I will say is difficult when for a while, for a moment, you're just sitting.
Yeah.
And it's like, you start feeling like lightweight, out of place, and not necessarily depressed, but kinda.
It's confusing.
It's confusing, yeah. And that navigating that space is the difficult thing. And I'm sure we'll get into it, but I'll throw this last thing in there because for me as a man, a lot of where I've put my worth is in my movement and how much I'm doing. And it's not something that I feel bad about because I love working. I love to provide in that way. I love to go, but sometimes that you attach yourself too much to the movement and to the goal. And it's slightly an ego thing, but it's also a pride thing where it's like, I take pride in doing that thing that helps my family. But it ultimately sometimes can bite you in the butt because you're like, you've put so much stock into that.
Yes. Like your identity almost gets wrapped into it.
Yeah. And so when you get home, then you realize I'm more than that.
Yeah. It's like a delicate dance you have to do because now man is the priority thing, right? That's just like our what we are. We're men and what we believe in with our faith and religion and that kind of space. We are the leaders of our household, and we'll clarify this. Does not mean our ladies don't have a say. That they're not in. This isn't a dictatorship.
Put that out there.
Yeah, we want to be very clear about this. They're 100% equals in terms of what we do within our household. However, where we are is like we try to provide, and how we provide is attached to that go.
Yeah.
The thing that had to shift for me, and I don't know if you feel this way, was ultimately, what is my life, right? What do I believe in? What do I want it to look like? And it's like, my lady is a part of that, and she deserves the equal amount of attention that we put behind our instruments, or we're MDing, or we're going. It's like, so my last tour I came home, it was easier because my purpose wasn't attached to the gig.
Right.
Like it's been for so long, right? Because we've worked
Yeah.
for 20 plus years to get as
Right.
excellent as we are, at what we do. And this is the world saying that, not us.
Yeah.
This this is just one of
Yeah.
those things. But I don't know if you feel that way. Is it's like shifting the brain and being like, oh, well, I don't have to just do this right now. I could just love and be there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And that's a real thing. And that's what I was gonna say too in this season, that I have been home more lately. The past couple of months, I've been focused on is being present.
yeah,
Being present at home. So that's what it's been for me for the past few months, where it's just like that's all I care about right now. So like, yeah, I'm still getting calls and doing stuff and working on, my program and then cutting drums for different things and recordings and all of that. But I'm still just trying to be present in a different way and in the best way possible. Because you're right, man. Like I've always tried my best and to never let the hype get to me mentally anyway.
sure.
That's just naturally just been me. And anybody that really knows me, such as yourself and many of us, I'm grateful for the love that's shown and the people that admire what I do. But I know that, God has blessed me with what I do in a
Yes.
great way, and the different opportunities that has come from that. I'm very aware. So it's like it would be crazy for me to be walking around wearing that stuff. Like,
Right.
like I personally can't do it because I'm gonna feel some type of way. And then once you get home, as you already know, none of that stuff matters anyway. It all stays at the
Matter.
door. Because like your wife or your girl, whoever that may be watching this and will look at this, you already know you around your family. You're just Josh. You're just Jarvis. You're just whoever. They know
Yes.
not what you do, not what you can contribute.
Right.
So yeah, man. Yeah,
They
we'll
know
be on that
us.
all day. We'll be on that all day.
Bro, it's so important, man, because the younger cats and we've been there, so and we're not far removed, which is secretly this is why I love this podcast, because I'm
Yeah,
talking to people that were in it and we're not necessarily OG space where our mentors guide us, but we're
yeah,
not the younger cats either. But we didn't develop this mindset and ideology until recently. This isn't something we were thinking we were 18 or we're 20, or
yeah,
we're thinking, oh, I
yeah.
want to have a house. I want to have a nice car. I want to be able to provide. I want to be able to do certain. We weren't thinking that stuff, man. We were just like, yo, how do I get on the stadium gig and all
Right.
these endorsements
Oh, bro. And
now? Like that was so
that's such a conversation that I'm like, we gotta unspookify this endorsement conversation.
yo, go for it. Unspookify it,
And
bro.
like as soon as you said it, and I have young homies that may see this that they know I'm probably like talking about them. But when it comes to like all of that stuff, bro, yes, the reason we got into this to stay on where we're at, that wasn't the why. Anyway, the endorsement, the gig, like first you love to play, like you just genuinely love to play, and
Yeah.
then see someone that you admire that, oh, I can do this with my gift. I can
Right.
do this with my talent. Then you're like, all right, so now I know I could do that type of gig. I could do TV. I could do a tour, a stadium, whatever it is. And then it's like, okay, now the gear thing. Why they play that kit? Why do they play those cymbals? Why do they play those drum heads? Like all of the steps like that, that's like the last thing. And so when we get to this place where like everybody is like trying to do it the reverse way,
Yes.
how do I get the endorsements? How do I get the gear? I want my setup to look like this. I want all of this to look like this. And then, but the gig I want is all the way over here. Like that's the last
Right.
thing I'm like, bro, if we can get out of the mentality of like what gear I'm playing, who sees what gear I'm playing,
Yes.
what setup do I have? And bro, do you know this music?
Yep.
Are you gonna show up on time for this music? Are you gonna have the gear that's needed for the gig, the music you're about to play?
Come on.
So it's just I don't want people to get the wrong idea that there are levels to the understanding of like what it is you should be doing. The endorsements, and shout out to all the companies that we rep,
Yes.
across the board. This is no shade. What I am saying is there's a priority list that musicians as a whole we should have, and the
Yeah.
music should be number one.
Yes.
And right with that, the companies that we work with and that endorse us, and we endorse them, and we have this unique a relationship between us.
Yeah. It's really a
It's
partnership.
it's a partnership,
Yeah.
but that shouldn't be why you do what you do. It should help you do what you do at
Yes.
the highest level. Because at the end of the day, relationship is going to be the thing anyway.
Everything.
But it's just like, man, like that always blows me when it's like, well, what gear they playing? Can you tune a kit that's $200? If you can tune a kit,
Man.
and that's just for drummers, but it's like, man, like if you grew up in church, if you couldn't play a Casio as a keyboard player, I don't really care if you got a Nord or a Motif,
It
and
didn't matter.
and
Yeah.
you have the rack, and man, I don't care about none of that stuff. Like if you can play the instrument with care and intentionality,
Yes.
regardless of what it is, then yeah, man, when that endorsement comes, it'll feel better. But it's not. You are the chef cooking the meal.
Right.
Those are ingredients. Okay,
Right. That's a
you know
beautiful way of putting that. Like a beautiful way of putting that.
that's what it is. Like
Yep.
it don't matter what kit, bro. If Jarvis don't sit down and feel like I can do this regardless of what I'm playing, then that's a problem. And we need to look at something else deeper, to focus on. But no, man. So yeah, just, because that's a rabbit hole too. That's the one thing that always gets me, because if I be honest, it took me a long time to get endorsements. So that's why
Same.
my view on that is a little different, and it's not out of bitterness, it's out of priority. Like
Right.
I didn't care. I was doing the gigs.
Yeah.
I don't care what
Yeah.
gear I'm playing. I'm on the gigs, and guess what? That goes to my bank account.
That's a whole conversation
So
too,
it's just
man.
like I don't care. Like, bro, I could be playing. Like, bro, I have an old CB 700 kit that some people probably don't even know that. Like, bro, I've recorded on that thing so much. That joint is on
Yeah.
some Mariah Carey songs on some albums. On the last
Right.
album dropped, and it's like it sounds like a love wig, but it's not that. And I say all of that to say, man, it's just like one of those things where it's just like I'd rather be the value and have the value, and
Yeah.
then company that obviously now is Tamlin. I love them.
Yeah.
And other companies where we come together and now the value goes up.
Yes.
But I think people put the value with the company and not with themselves. And so when you get together, if you no longer are with that company, now your value's gone.
Right. And I'll co-sign this point is like when you get to that, when you finally get there, it's like Josh just signed a town. We'll just use this as an example because it's here and now.
Yeah.
You're able to negotiate things a lot differently because of where you are, who you are as a person, what you're able to do on top of the gigs that you've been able to, to land and place and secure and keep. That's very
That's another
important.
thing.
Right. But this is the most important thing is like, because now when you get there, you're not just on the roster. You now
Right.
become a
Right.
name that's on the
Yeah.
roster.
Yeah.
Now you become a valuable asset who they also want to pour into. And now they're saying, oh, Josh, we got a Tama shoot that we want to do. Are you available to come shoot some content with us? Okay, so now we're partnering. We're cross-promoting brands and we're doing. If you're just, and this is no knock to anybody, but if you're just a person that is doing some local stuff, that's not as valuable to them in a marketing standpoint, because we
Right.
are the marketing. They're
Right.
deciding to take their marketing budget and saying, here's artist. We're giving them the money, aka the gear or whatever our
Right.
deals are. And
Yeah.
in return, we need you all to promote it. So then we move product off the shelf.
Absolutely.
That's the circle.
Business.
It's it. There's no other way of cutting this. And it doesn't matter how sweet you are. If
Yeah.
no one sees the product, it's not marketable. I could take some eyeliner right now and put it on, but no one's looking at Jarvis for eyeliner. You go give it to Kim Kardashian, that makes a lot more sense.
Absolutely.
That's why Josh is valuable. Josh is valuable to who are you with now? Zildjian?
Zildjian,
Yeah.
Earth, Tama, Evans, well, Diodario Evans,
Right.
and then All Clear.
Yes, sir.
I'm looking around so I make sure I don't miss nobody.
Any electronics right now?
Gibraltar.
Yep.
Roland. So Roland is the only thing. Yeah, if y'all watching this, we need to have the conversation. But
Same.
but no, Roland is the only thing I'm not like fully endorsed with. Everything else, I don't think I missed anything. Oh, sorry, Dial Tune,
Mm-hmm. Duh.
King's Custom Drums.
Crazy.
So yeah, all of those like, and all based off of really great relationships and yes, value. Where it's like a lot of those companies, and I told people that too, where it's just like, obviously it's great to have dope gear, but like I can call each of the rep, like I can get a hold of them. They want to talk. We it's not that thing where it's like you said, you're just another person on the roster.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal, man. That's a big deal for me.
Yes.
And it's always been like I always wanted to make sure that like I was doing the thing that made it valuable. I would rather you put my name with those people than like I don't care about no hype at all. And most people know that. Like I just don't like there's a lot of people I love, but like for myself personally, no matter where you put me, I want you to put me in the working category. That's it.
There you go.
That's it. And the people that need to know me in that category, they know me, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Was that always your mindset and personality, or was that something that you developed later on?
No, I think it was always there. I was blessed to leave home and then go to Berkeley, right? And so going to Berkeley, I was exposed to a miniature version of what the world as music would look like, right? Where all these different genres, different opportunities, whether it be production, whether it be studio playing, whether it be live playing. And I think that for me, my biggest thing was how versatile could I be? That was
Okay.
what I wanted to be, because what people have seen me do versus what I've done like in recordings or as a whole, I've been able to do a lot, like from straight ahead to neo soul to R&B, hip hop, pop, rock, funk, whatever it is.
Yeah.
My biggest thing was I want to play every genre authentically, no matter what.
And you've been doing it that well for a long time. People don't know.
Thank you, bro.
What dog, I first found you when you were doing Tyler Perry.
For real?
Dog.
Damn, bro.
Yes.
That's several years ago. 2019.
Dog, I remember watching the play and I was like, who the hell is in this band? Like, because y'all were killing. And I mean killing. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
shout out
good.
to Ronnie Garrett. In that unit, we had Ronnie Garrett's Tyler Perry's MD, and then we had Good Times Horns, who were out with the homie DJ with those Melvin Jones, Mike Burton, Will Williams,
Legends right there.
Dominic Sanchez on guitar, Natalie Reagan's on keys, ox on organ, and then my bro Pat Wright from Texas was also on mains, ox, and keys. They both switched versus what we were playing, and then but no, on this tour, Mike Burton wasn't with us. It was Jamel Mitchell on
Got you.
saxophone, while Mike was doing a couple of other things. And then lastly, making sure I'm not leaving nobody out, Darius Fentress on percussion.
Okay, yes, sir.
Darius Fentress on percussion. So yeah, that's the guitar, bass, both keys, and all the horns. Yeah, it was a 9-piece special is what we called it.
Sheesh. Y'all were so killing, bro.
Yeah, man, thank you, bro. So that was I did a tour before that, but that's the first tour that I count that was like eye-opening to like doing everything intentionally, no matter what. And I felt like that was it. But that show, we played a lot of different stuff.
Okay.
Bro, like what people don't know is like, yeah, when we get to the show, it probably ends up being about 15 songs total. And a lot of that is the medley at the end. At the end of a Tyler Perry play, there's the medley and they do all these songs.
Yeah.
But there's other stuff we played throughout the show.
Right.
But rehearsal, bro, we went through like 50 songs, bro, in 1
Really?
week. Oh, yeah. Because what's going to get cleared that we can perform live and record it later.
I see.
Because it went to BET Plus. That's on BET Plus now for, from then. because we recorded that in 2020. The top of 2020, right before the pandemic, was like our last few shows. And because the first run lasted 6 months, bro. The first
That's
run was 6
crazy.
months. It was crazy, bro. And we played like 8, 9 shows a week. It was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 2 on Saturdays, sometimes 3, and 2 on Sundays.
So you're like a real Broadway schedule.
Yes, bro. Like
Yeah.
2,
Okay.
2 with what Q be doing all the time?
But Hamilton?
Just doing Hamilton. It was like
Yeah.
that schedule where you got to be.
Yep. You're on the move.
So, but yeah, man. So that's crazy that you know that's how you found out, because that's really where it starts. That led to everything else. That's where I met Daniel
Yeah.
Moore. That's how Daniel does Mariah. Of course, he MDs that, but then he MDs Black Music Honors, Stellars, Urban One Music Honors.
Okay. So this
So
is the bridge that kind of
that's the
connects
bridge.
everything.
Yeah,
Wow. And I
that
only brought
that
up Tyler because you were saying how much you play all these genres and you were killing it. That was the only reason I was
thank you.
co-signing.
No, and I appreciate it because that led to everything else. Like, I ain't gonna lie, like it legit that gig, and that's why I tell people all the time though. Even before that gig here, when I moved to Atlanta from Berkeley,
Mhm.
I was playing around everywhere, but I was playing these club gigs like my life depended on it, and it did to me
It
mentally.
did. Yeah.
Because I was like, man, I'm going to be working. That was my thing. That's my MO. So to answer your question, as far as did I know or did I grow into it? It's like, no, I knew. All I did was grow into the opportunities. My
Understood.
mentality was already set, but it was more so of like, okay, now these opportunities have validated my mentality.
Okay.
But
And then did you get that? Did you learn that from like an OG? You have mentorship or your parents involved? Like where did you get? Because that's not a young
yeah,
mentality. That's a very
it's not.
mature
So
mentality.
before I like list or put some OGs or mentors out there, like my dad is a musician, Nero Foster. So back home in Fort Worth, Texas, everybody who knows, like my dad is one of the dopest bass players, musicians, pastor,
Crazy.
all of the things, man. And so I between him and my uncles, that's where it starts, right? Where
Got
like,
you.
because I played from the time I could barely talk at 2 years old, whatever, all the way up through church and that whole thing. But my dad, the whole time, really like from the beginning was like a slightly nicer Joe Jackson, but like lock, locking me into like, hey man, like don't do that here, do this here. Quit hitting those cymbals, man. We ain't even at the chorus yet. Like, why are you doing that? Stop touching stuff. Stop fixing the drums. Stop. Just play the song, play the pattern, play whatever. And so that's where it starts. And then later, again, I brought up Ronnie Garrett with Tyler. He's still to this day one of my main like OG mentors in my life.
Love.
Um, but it's not just him now. You know him, Daniel Moore, Rick Watford, amazing guitar player, one of the most recorded guitar players. You know, especially in gospel. After Johnny DuBose, like, and everybody that know who I'm talking about. Rick Watford, Dario Edgecombe, who does a lot of stuff with us too, with Daniel and Mariah. Dario done recordings across the world, but like a lot of gospel stuff. He's a producer. Like these guys are like the guys. And so
Yeah.
I'm blessed to like play with those guys on a consistent basis with the award shows. And then of course him with Mariah. I would have to shout out Trent Phillips too, who's here in Atlanta, but he's done mad recordings too. And all of these guys' mentorship. Lance Tolbert, who was in LA, we met with Mariah. Another guy, Terrence Vaughn.
Legend.
T is definitely like a mentor, and a lot of these guys, man, that have come, and there's many others. There's many others. Some with music, and some that I just have that are just that help me in life.
The most important.
The most important, but a lot of it, you know, me and Ronnie kind of talk on a regular basis, and there's a lot of drummers too that I could name from Sput and different people that we Lil Jon out here and just like
Yeah.
people saying and. But yes, I had to. You know, to help you with the frame of reference. I love gangster movies, and the
Okay.
one thing, and it's because of my dad. The one thing about gangsters and gangs and how things roll, everyone had an OG.
Yes.
everyone had that mentor of like, hey, this is how the game is played. And you watch them and they'll tell you about what they've gone through and these things. So you can kind of like omit a lot of your failures. And then that way you can get right to where you're trying to get to. And you're still going to
Yes.
hit your head a couple of times. But like for me, it was important to have that because I never wanted to just be out here doing whatever. So like,
Right.
yeah, bro, having an OG is completely a part of the program. Like
For sure.
if you don't have one, to all the people watching this, like get one like quick because they have already been and done this. And the thing that I will say is a lot of people feel like because we're in our social media world is such a big thing now that like your OGs ain't gonna be able to help you. No, they will because if you made it without social media, then adding you can there's a way to do it in a way that can help you.
Yes.
But if you can't do the thing that they were doing, social media doesn't help you because you could be killing on social media and then you show up and now it's time to do the opportunity in person.
Yikes.
Because that's another thing. It's like, no, like that, all of that stuff, to help navigate having an OG and mentor. Yeah, bro. So
It's
yeah.
the biggest. It is the biggest cheat code. Steve-O, Steve-O.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve-O said it a long time ago, man, and it stuck with me. He's like, the only way to take a shortcut is to have a mentor. That's the only way.
It's the only way. Because if not, you just out here just bumping your head everywhere, man.
Everywhere. And there's no, you can still get there. You can still get there, but it is so much easier just to have someone to say, hey, man, this is what they're asking me to do. What you think about these rates? And then they can give you a real perspective on, bro, I had one of my closest friends, John, was like, you haven't done shit. So sounds like you need to go. Okay, let's get it. You know what I mean? Because in my brain, all of our friends
Love it.
are moving and grooving. And they got these things happening.
Yeah.
And he's like, but you're not them. Got it. And then I had times where guys were like, no, you can't go for that. Like you are doing other stuff
Doing
now.
this.
You see what I'm saying? Like you have done enough. And that's
somebody telling you the truth.
Yeah, man.
And that's such a big thing. And for sure, bro, I feel like that's a big thing. A lot of people told me the truth.
Yeah.
I think some people come to me and ask me for the truth, and then I give them the truth, and then they feel some type of way about it. And I'm like,
what is that?
What it is entitlement. And,
wow. Okay.
And a little bit of pride, but it's like because I'm gifted, I should be here. And it's like, no, like that's not true because that's the same way people feel with endorsements. It's all the same conversation where it's just like you're focused on the wrong thing. Like you putting your priorities all in this mixed up place where it's just like, I'm glad you said that. Like someone needs to tell someone the truth about what it is that's coming from a respectable source too. Cause it would be different if you had an OG that wasn't doing the stuff that you do. But that's the point of having an OG or a mentor. You admire what they've done already.
Yes.
You already see what and you respect it. Like when I bring up Ronnie, like if you see that man got plaques for days of records he's played on. You know what I'm saying? He lives a different type of lifestyle, drives a nice car, got a nice crib, dope family. All of these different things that like I admire.
Yeah.
And the way that he gets to live his life. Do we talk about music? Sometimes now. Do we talk about that all the time? No. And it's just one of those things where it's just like, all right, cool. There has to be something you could glean from. And a lot of, I don't know what it is, but like a lot of the younger guys, and this is what I hear. This is not what I necessarily have experienced. I haven't run into anyone that's felt any type of way personally for me.
Sure.
From telling them the truth, but I feel like that's why some people don't ask. I have heard, or it has gotten back to me at different times where someone was like, I wish he would kind of like show me some love with different things. And I'm like, well, bro, I'm an open book. If you really want to ask me some questions or want to know, let's do it. But I know some people feel like they're already killing. So why do I need to talk to him about something or ask him a question? And that's the first problem. Your pride won't let you do it. Like
Yeah.
I'm doing gigs and I'm doing stuff. I'm touring. I'm doing a lot of stuff that people want to do. But
Right.
I still got someone I'm talking to.
Yes. All the time.
Bro, I'm talking to people all the time, bro. Like I'm literally reaching out. Like I program and do all of this stuff. I send my stuff to T-Von. I send my stuff to DJ. I send my stuff to people and
Yeah, bro.
let them put their ears on it. And it's like,
Yes.
and all of it ain't, and it sometimes they be like, yo, that's cool. Sometimes they don't respond. And so in my mind, it's not go back to the
It ain't
drawing board.
sweet. Yeah, it ain't
You know,
sweet.
and it's like, okay, like it's all right. I
Yeah.
think the line of work is okay. But so Jarvis, just so you know about me and so other people understand me. So I play basketball too coming up.
Okay.
Like heavy, like AAU, high school, everything. Like I really play, and there's a group of musicians here in Atlanta, like we go hoop. So I don't like that music is that sensitive. Like people that do music are like super sensitive. Like it
Yep.
bothered me because I wasn't raised that way. My dad was super hard on me. So it was just like my thought process when it comes to stuff like is very militant.
Yes.
Like, and so when people feel some type of way easily about stuff with music, it drives me insane because everything relates back to sports to me. It's basketball, where it's just,
Yeah.
you don't get playing time unless you're killing.
Yeah, and you're trying to be the best at something, and if you want to be the best at something, you got to be able to be polished. A diamond isn't a diamond because it was okay being dirt and not going through all the pressure and all that other stuff. It had to go through the weathering. It had to go through all that other stuff to become that thing.
Yeah.
Well, the pressure is having your mentor say, "Yo, you thought that was good, didn't you? Got it. Go redo that with some positive and constructive criticism, not just you
Right.
trash. That's
Yeah.
not helpful. It's
Yeah.
okay, I feel what you're trying to do, but that feel was too busy. Simplify it.
Yeah.
All those little nuggets and not taking it personal because they're not taking it personal. They're just like, okay, if you're asking for it and you're yearning for this information, I'm gonna help you. The other side of that is when people will ask for this stuff. If I'm like, yo, Josh, check out this video, what you think? And you give me your honest feedback, and I'm like, but I did it this way because of this, then why'd you ask me?
Right. Because you don't really care to understand, like, how it can grow, how you can grow and how it could be better. You wanted
Yep.
me to validate how you feel about it. And if that's the case, post it or do whatever else you want to do with it. Because
Right.
yeah, like there is a point where you make the decision in your head where you don't care and you just do it. But like if you do care about what someone else has to say about it, then you should listen to it and really like try to see if there's something you could learn from it. I've had that happen a couple of times where I felt some type of way about like feedback because I wanted my playing or I wanted my stuff to be validated and it wasn't. And I had to eat that where it's just like, okay, but they're saying this and I don't necessarily agree, but let me see though.
Right.
They're saying because if it can help me moving forward, then I need to see what they're talking about.
Yes.
Because
Like you,
they wouldn't have just said it for no reason. And
yep.
based on the person and the people that have said stuff, it's not malicious intent. So it's just like, nah, man, we gotta grow from that. And I wanna clarify that we're all trying to be the best that we can be. That's the difference from what it is in sports, where it's just like it's not like we're saying we want to be better than X, Y, and Z personnel. No, like
Right.
I wanna be the Kobe I can be, the Jordan I can be of what I do. And you should be that for you because music is different as far as like it also does become a team sport all the time,
Yeah.
especially in
Yes.
a band setting, unless you want to do the artist route. But yeah, I think it's just important that people understand that you really have to you can't lead out that way. Like you really gotta be able to humble yourself with this thing because this music thing is in a cycle
Yeah.
where people that you meet along the way, and then even though the circle may get bigger for you, there's somebody, it comes back around to certain individuals and people that where if you handled certain things a certain way, like it can bite you.
Yes.
And that's why people say you don't burn them bridges because you may have to walk over it again.
You will. You're gonna see these people again. There's no way around it.
Small, bro. The music world is super small.
At this level, 100%. You know, we are seeing the same faces over and over and over again in all capacities, from TMs, PMs, people who are handling playback, people who are MD and stuff. You're seeing the same faces. So you violating their trust or handling things a certain kind of way that wasn't ideal for them, that's gonna be it's gonna be damaging for you. And
It
you
is.
never want that to happen where they're like, oh, who's playing drums? Oh, Jarvis. You know, you never want that kind
Yeah.
of vibe to happen. You want to be like, who's on kit? Okay, Josh is we good
Right.
all the
Right.
time. You know,
That's
from the
crazy.
playing aspect, from the hang aspect, that's what you want to happen. So that
Yeah.
people got to understand that to your point, you can't be too emotional about this. And we understand that music is an emotion. You know, you can draw emotions
Yes.
out of it.
The music itself.
Yes. But don't take that feedback crazy. Like it's just not that deep. And more importantly, it's not your song.
Please.
I don't
It's
understand this. Like, people have this yearn to put themselves into something completely that no one asked your opinion on.
right. Right.
You
Yeah.
know, they made this a hit before you even knew it came out.
Right.
You found out when the masses found out, and you didn't get the opportunity to play it until someone decided that you were the right call to go play it.
Right.
Why are you so emotional about this? Just just calm down, yo. This I
Man,
don't know.
sometimes we get caught up in the fact that because music is such a gift and talent conversation,
Yeah.
that people forget that it's still a job.
Okay.
And it's hard sometimes for people to separate the fact that, like, even though you care so much about your creativity and you're an artist and all of these things, and like you have artistic value, you're getting paid today to play that instrument.
That's it.
That's it. Like, I got ideas all the time. I can, before people even gave me an opportunity to arrange, like, I'm already arranging, I'm already doing stuff. But if T Von called me, bro, do you think we get on the phone and I'm like, bro, T, what if you, what if you, what if you, no, bro. When I got the call to do Reneé with him, he had saw me do the Stellar Awards, and he had called a few of my OGs and big bros in that band to see how I was as a person.
Yes.
He was like, I see he can play, but how is he? All right, cool. We get in rehearsal. I don't come in there talking about nothing. I come in there and play the drums. And just play the drums, man. Like,
Yeah.
play the hell out of what you're getting called to do. And then that'll open the door for the other conversations. But like that whole, I have this thing. Yeah, you're going to have that thing at home,
Yeah, at the crib.
at the crib, bro. And it's cool if you want to have that thing at home and be at the crib. Speaking of where we wanted to be and where I saw myself,
Yeah.
that just wasn't, I couldn't do that. I told myself a long time ago, like, I can't go back home. Like
Okay.
Texas,
Never an
and I love
option.
Texas. I love Texas. I love home. When I left Berkeley, I was never going back to Texas. It was either Atlanta, LA, or New York.
Got it.
But I never even thought of going back home. I just never thought about it. And it wasn't that I didn't love home. It was like I didn't need to be. I don't want to be comfortable anywhere I go. And you know, Lyric and I are bi-coastal at this point. Like, I be in
Right.
LA all the time, in Atlanta, uh, and we'll be out there more, like I talked to you about. But it's just like, I don't like the feeling of like being in that comfortable spot. But it's like, man, for a lot of people, like, you need to get comfortable enough in that one position to then be put into other things that you want to do
Yeah.
that will use your other gifts and will make you a little uncomfortable. And it'll be a nice challenge. But I think people should challenge themselves with like focusing intentively on like the job at hand, because
Yes.
people don't understand, like I said earlier, that one gig led to every other gig I've ever done.
That's insane.
If I take you through from Tyler Perry, that on that same tour, that's how I met the Mariah and all the TV show MD. That's how
Yep.
I met Cameo.
Mm-hmm.
one of Larry Blackman's best friends, Miss Carol Jones, put me on a 3-way call with Larry Blackman.
Wow.
Came to a show on a Sunday. I was on the phone with him on a Monday. That same week after the show, we did
Yeesh.
Dallas. So that's how I meet the Mariah stuff, TV stuff, Cameo, right?
Yeah.
From the TV show stuff, that's how I meet T Vaughn. That's how I do Reneé. That's how I do all of these other recordings we've done for TV shows, every other tour.
Yeah.
All of these things just keep leading to the next thing.
Yeah.
But you gotta show up and do the first thing at the highest level. It can't be, I'm gonna start showing up when I'm in the stadium either. It's like, oh, I'm gonna start showing up when I get that gig. Oh, bro, my setup gonna be cold. I'm gonna have all the triggers. I guarantee you, if you don't know how to load triggers and load sounds, whether you have a tech or not, that's not gonna be good. Because what if they want to change something in rehearsal right on the spot and hear it back? But
Yeah,
you
like
don't
right
know.
now.
But now you're gonna do it because you doing an arena tour. Man, get out of here with that, bro. Like
Not how it works.
it's not how it works, bro. Like for the longest, I didn't even go to a TD50 because I needed to see it done. Like I'm
Yeah.
a learner, but shout out to Lawrence Bowens. When I started with
L.
L all day long. When I started with Reneé, I told L straight up, I said, bro, I know how to use the SPD super quick. I can put triggers in it, I can put sounds in it, I can do whatever's needed. If you show me, if you give me a crash course on the TD50, I've been waiting to get into it, but because this is a new tour,
Yeah.
I can't just jump into that, and I don't believe in doing that. And he
Yeah.
was like, I got you. So we got up the whole time. He set me up. And then from that point, he showed me how to use it. Showed me how
Yeah.
to do all of the ins and outs, how to troubleshoot, how to do all of these things. Having an OG mentor. He
Yep.
showed me how to do all of these things quickly. And then once he learned, I have not gone back. I only play FTD sometimes at chain or
Yeah.
sometimes if it's a quick something. But like now I'm married to it. But like I was cool and humble enough with being like, I'm not comfortable with that coming into
Yeah.
a situation. And it was my first time working with T. So like I didn't want to make that relationship weird because in other things I already had my flow.
Right.
So, but now that I know it, cool. I don't need nothing else. I can do that. But that's the kind of thing, bro, like preparing yourself before the opportunity shows up. It was the same thing with Daniel when my first award show. And I mean, every day it was like a new thing that I was learning, and not with playing or programming, but more so of how people think.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, bro. Daniel would be like, yo, can you like change the threshold to where like, you know, when you play softer, it's softer and louder and like, and all of those things. And like on the spot, I was like having to like do that. And it's like for
Yeah.
people that want to get into this, do that now.
Yes.
Can't wait on the opportunity to show up and then now you're like trying to get sweet on all of that stuff. No, that's not how it goes.
That's a dangerous business. You know, it could be now. One thing we got to add though, L, that's his just being, and
Absolutely.
L will give you the shirt off his back. Like L was teching for DJ, and I was with Tate. I just got the Tate gig,
Yeah.
and they were next door, and I walked over. I was like, L, can you show me something really quick? And he was like, baby boy, I got you. And literally
That's
left,
feeling all day.
tipped over, walked me through some stuff on the SPD SX Pro. And he was like, yeah, but do this, save it this way. And I'm just like, man, thank you, bro. Like, you didn't have to do that, you know, but his character. So just to give that man his flowers right now, L
Absolutely.
is,
L, and then and I swear, man, like from the longest time, like him and I go back and forth about tuning because I know I can really tune drums,
yeah.
and he can tune too, but that's just me and him. Like we got that little beef, but no, L is literally like second to none, bro. Like he is legit one of the best to ever do it and do it for multiple instruments and make sure everything's consistent. Like, man, that dude has really helped me a lot in my trajectory in my life and in my ears, like just different people. And then of course, you know, Philly got its own
Oh
industry
yeah.
takeover energy where like a lot of them have been doing this for a long time. So L is man. Definitely give him his flowers, bro. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then another thing you said that I think people really should realize is that you didn't throw something on your rider just because you got a new gig.
Yeah.
You literally said, I'm putting this here because I know what I know on it. I can navigate this. I got a solid workflow. And when you get to these opportunities, you don't want your gear to be your focus.
Yeah.
That's
You
the
want to
least.
be able to play this music down, make some money, but play some good music, make some great relationships, and for it to be a smooth selling process.
Yes.
But you don't wanna put yourself in a bind that quick, because I ain't gonna lie, man. Like, even the same way when I met Daniel, it led to 18 other opportunities. It's the same thing with T. I didn't
Yeah.
know we would be doing in the future, but I've always planned that if you're intentional, man, and ready to go, like, the opportunities will come. Just show up.
Just
Just
show and be
show up.
ready.
Show up and be ready. And L know that same day, bro, I kid you not, the SPD, we had that joint on the rider.
Yeah.
But he was like, bro, I got you. I got you. I'm gonna show you how to use it. Cause I was like, bro, if one thing happens that goes wrong at any point,
It's out of
pull
here.
the SPD back up, bro.
Straight
That's
up.
that all day. This before the pro, everybody was talking about the pro.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
You have
Yeah.
to though, man. You got to be ready for whatever feedback and obstacles that are going to come your way, and you can't be the holdup.
Let's talk about that real quick. Being the holdup in rehearsal. So there's just because I really want, like, especially for the younger guy, it's funny us saying that. Because, like, we're not older, like you said earlier, but, like, we definitely have been doing stuff for a while now. So, I mean, I
Yeah.
just turned 30. So it's like, you at that point where it's just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not in some rooms, you were the youngest, and then now
Yeah.
you're second youngest.
Yep.
So you're not close to the older, but you definitely are, like, got a little season on you, but
Little
not
season, nothing crazy.
just a sprinkle.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've learned from a lot of OGs where I've watched in different rehearsals when we have to wait on people or wait on something. And someone may never say directly to you, yo, like, hurry up, or you should have that already. But that's the energy. And so
Right.
to anyone that wants to get into this, like, heavy, that's why we're saying everything we're saying. Like, learn your gear right now. Learn your setup right now. Visualize how you would approach stuff with your own setup that you already have at your home. Because most people now got a home studio. You can record. Start playing the stuff the way you see yourself doing it. Because when you get these opportunities in rehearsal, bro, like, timing is everything. Not just literally because we're playing drums. If you're a drummer, but for any musician, like, you don't want to be the hold up. Patches, guitar players, keyboard players, bass players, key bass, all of those things.
All
Like,
that.
man, brother,
Playback, you need to know your
playback.
everybody in the room.
You gotta. That's honestly, that's what it is, and I'll leave it there. Doing a gig now is about knowing how to troubleshoot.
Yes.
That's really that's why you get the call.
Yes.
If you can troubleshoot, you're gonna be good. If you can't troubleshoot, bro, that's when you fall into some things where it's just like, if you don't, even for drummers, like, if you drop a stick, how quick you can grab the other stick and it
Yeah,
don't
you got to
like,
move.
little stuff like that. But with playback, same thing. Knowing your rig, you got your AB rig and your redundancy and all of that stuff. And it's like, for bass players and key bass players, like, knowing where the saw is and your cutoff and like all of that stuff. And like, man, I've learned so much now from different MDs and producers and different things that were like, troubleshooting is a part of the gig now.
Yes, it's primarily what the gig is.
Yeah, so I tell anybody right now, like, you got to know your stuff inside and out and troubleshoot, because 9 times out of 10, that's what it's going to be. How do you handle a malfunction?
Right. And okay, this is kind of what's take me to my next question for you. You are one of my favorite drummers, and this is no straight up. You just are. This is your approach, your feel, how you hear music, where
Thanks,
you
bro.
decide to put your feels, where you decide to put your chops, and how you you play groove.
Yeah.
You know, it
Yeah.
just makes sense.
Yeah.
So when you're getting a call, let's say you're getting on a call to do a different artist, right? What
Mhm.
is your process like to start learning the music, retaining the music, learning how to adapt to the right feel, right approach? Where you decide you want to take fills and stuff like that? How are you approaching that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, great question. Because I feel like I get this question pretty often. I initially, like what we talked about, is like immersing myself in that genre, in that music, whatever that song is. Like when I listen to songs, it's like, okay, wax is important for the main reason of like what we said earlier. Like that song sold and is listened to because of that. Like whatever
Right.
made wax felt right to that artist and their creative expression. So for me, it's like, how do I play this song with the intent of what the studio had? Okay, but now that we're live, how do I make the artist feel like it's still exciting?
Sure.
And then, okay, like, but that's just a lift. It's not really like me just doing all this stuff. It's like, it's just a lift, just a little bit of like, okay, this energy, because we got to play this song every night for the next few months or whatever. And the best example, I feel like, as far as I literally immerse myself in that sonic. So feels and everything, like what makes sense for that thing.
Got you.
Like, um, for instance, like I had just played to India Shawn's Till Infinity,
Okay.
right? So like initially when I hear that song, it's like it's got a 70s energy. So I love vintage stuff in general. And
Yeah.
so D Miles, the producer on that, right? I get immersed
Incredible, by the way.
in literally one of my favorite producers, but he's doing everybody's record at this Victoria Monet
Yeah.
era.
I
So
just met him, man.
yeah, yeah, he's
We
cool, bro. He's
we kicked
chill.
it for a few hours. That cat is so chill, but he
Yeah,
knows his shit. Oh my
he
goodness.
all hits it, bro. He cold with it. And so with that being said, that's that kind of stuff that I fall into. I know who did
Okay.
the records.
I see.
You know what I'm saying? Like I care because I'm a producer, and an artist myself. So like I can't help but hear the production as a whole.
I see. Okay.
So I'm like, okay, how do I give that what it needs and then make it live? And a lot of that I feel like is shown from my stuff with Reneé and
Mhm.
even Mariah too. But like with Reneé, with T, like we get a lot of musical liberty because Reneé loves live music, but
Right.
there's still this level of integrity that I still want to uphold.
Sure.
So when I'm listening to it, I'm like,
Good.
there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like I initially am like, okay, I want to play the record and then I just want to give it a little bit of a lift. But I think like people should be, come on, man. It's okay. I'm not mad at it, whatever.
No, it's a vibe. You good.
But yeah, so it's just like, I think if the integrity is what's on wax, then live, I should just be an extension of it. Like it should just be a little more present because I'm doing it. But like, I never want to take away from the song itself. It's already what it is.
Sure.
Um, and yeah, I feel like there's been a couple of times on certain things where I felt like I needed to add something to it, just like anyone else. But I fell out of that really quickly because when you get to hear yourself back on a recording
Mm.
and you're like, oh, that didn't need to go there, or this didn't need to go there. And I think Tim talked about it too, like on the episode y'all did, where it was just
Yeah.
like
Yep.
you hear yourself back enough times, I guarantee you won't do certain things anymore. Just because now you're exposed to yourself. So I would say with learning music too for people, like especially if it's a new opportunity or something, but just in general,
Mhm.
play to the stuff and record yourself. And like
Okay.
record so you can listen back. Like a lot of that stuff now with me learning songs, like the way I'm learning stuff for upcoming things, it's not always a lot of time to like sit down and record. But initially it was enough time for me to do that to where it's like now I'm sure of myself. Like, okay,
Right.
I know I can do that and do this here, don't do that there. But song format, we should know that. We should know that. Okay, live. if the record didn't have a feel, a quick little feel going into the chorus, live, you're probably gonna need one of those.
Yep.
And how do you grow the song? You know,
Yeah.
intro, verse, chorus. Some songs have bridges, some don't now. So, but how do you grow a song of each song throughout the entire performance? So
Right.
that way, telling the story from the beginning of the performance to the end.
Yeah.
But I think every musician should really value production and get into who's producing what records, why did they make these choices? Because if you can listen and learn what that is, that's ultimately going to make your playing that much more versatile, one, but two, intentional. And I tell
Yeah.
everybody that even the lessons I've done, intentional, I use that word over and over because that's what it is. Like the more
Yeah.
intentional you are, the more opportunity you're going to have because people trust that you're thinking.
Right. You're not just arbitrarily just making decisions. You
Yeah.
confidently knew why you went where you went to.
Yeah. Because that's
Yeah.
what wins anyway. It's like I'm getting called based on how I think, not just how I play. Because like me and Ronnie talk about this all the time, but it's like the NBA or the WNBA, right? Where it's like everybody can play, everybody can dunk. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
Everybody is like 6'3" and up, right? So like everyone's tall, everyone has this amazing physique and what they can do in athleticism and what they can accomplish with that. But it's like, okay, but how do they think? That's what
Right.
separates someone who comes off the bench to someone who starts,
That's a
or
fact.
or someone who has crazy stats. You know, that's what it is, man. It's just like how do you think?
Yeah.
And we can focus on how we think. That'll take care of the playing, because then you won't just do random stuff. You'll like be very thought out to where when you do play, you can think less because of your process before you actually got on the instrument.
Okay. So when you first start, so let's say you got a week before rehearsal date for you,
Right.
and you get this music, and we're just gonna say that you got it a week in advance.
Yeah.
And I'm only
That has
laughing
happened.
because a lot of times we get it less, you
I
know.
know. Yeah.
So let's just be kind to the situation to say you got a week before rehearsal. How soon are you putting hands on the music? Are you going straight into it? Or are you taking a few days to what's that process like?
I'm glad you said that, bro. Honestly, like I'm the type of person that I don't go straight to like just jumping on the kit. I
Okay.
really, because I have this thing where I've told people the Foster Rule of Five. Of course, you know, when you're making something, you always put your name in it. And, but I said that because each time that you listen, you're subconsciously listening 5 times. But
Okay.
for us as drummers, right, and for people that may be watching that be a drummer, you just sub out based on your instrument. But the first time you listen is a blank listen. The second time you listen for your instrument. So for us drums, your third listen is for keys, synths, and aux stuff. Your that's our third listen. Your fourth listen is for guitars world and
Okay.
bass. Okay, what is the guitars and bass world doing? And then your fifth listen is just for vocals. So this is
Mm,
like if you got to do something quick. And the reason I say that is because each time you listen, like you're still catching what's happening as a whole picture subconsciously,
sure.
but your focus dials into a specific thing.
Got it.
So I would try that if it's not like, but if it's a lot of music in a week time, and a lot of what we end up getting stuff to like last
Yeah.
minute sometimes,
Yep.
you really got to focus on your patterns because you're not going to really have a lot of time to like focus on like what is the vocal doing every single song.
Right.
That'll happen as repetition happens, and then you start to notice other things
Yeah.
around you. But like a lot for me has been off the kit, like just immersing myself and just hearing it back enough times to where I can like, okay, this is what the pattern changes. Okay, this kick pattern kind of does that here, it does that. Oh, and then I, as a professional, will go, okay, so these are the patterns. This is the
Okay.
record.
Yep.
But as a professional, it's like, all right, live, how would I then like, okay, so then we boom, cut, because now it's like, okay, as a pro, I'm being paid to know how to know when to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Okay.
but I'm not even worried about that right now. I'm just like, all right, this is the pattern, this is the song. When we get in rehearsal or before rehearsal, I'm already kind of planning out my extra little things
Sure.
so that way I can confidently play it and the musical director and the rest of the band can hear it, and
Yeah.
we can all, and that way no one's like unsure of what I'm gonna do, or like, or and that way it's all intentional. But yeah, bro, for me, before I even sit at the kit with music, I sit and listen to all of it,
Yeah.
and visualize what I would do where, but still kind of focus only on what's actually happening, so that way I know verbatim, this is happening right here, this is happening right here. Like, I don't like going into a situation unprepared with not knowing what's supposed to be happening where.
Right.
Because like, an interpretation is not the record. No. Like, I'm a verbatim type of guy, bro. Like,
Yeah.
it can't be an interpretation, bro. Like, that's the way I was taught with that level of mentality. So I expect the same from everyone else. It's like, yeah,
Right.
no.
But
But
that's
yeah,
why
bro.
they call you. It's like they understand you're not trying to interpret. You are listening, dissecting, and then executing what's there. And
Yeah.
then to your point, you know when to add a lift or how to, even if you're just playing the pattern, right?
Yeah.
You still got a something
Yeah.
to it. You know what I mean? It's a little razzle dazzle to it that makes that joint move live. You
Yeah.
know that.
And that's what you want to add. That's what you want to be in control of, and how you add it, because that's why you get called versus someone else getting called, because at the end of the day, someone's going to get the call. But
Right.
that's
Yeah.
why I love people like, just to throw out real quick, that's why I love Stanley Randolph so much. And that's why I love Daryl, Lil Man, Hal. And there's so
Mm-hmm.
many other drummers I could name. But the reason I'm bringing up those two specific people, it's not what they play, it's how it feels from what they're playing. Like this man, Stanley, like, for anybody, for me, being versatile is like playing Stevie's gig like that and then going to go play with Tim's and whoever else and play whatever. But with Stevie, you sound like super
You in there.
Stevie. Like, like,
Yeah.
it's not super clean. It's not super like, this is my version of Stevie. It sounds like that's what needs to be there. And the
Yep.
same thing with Daryl, bro. Like, Lil Man, bro, he get on those with, and he's played mad other gigs, Nicki Minaj and all that stuff. But when people watch with him, Maxwell, I don't know if they're really paying attention all the time to, like, he has made that thing like feel like,
It's crazy.
no one will sound like that on that.
That's a fact.
It's like listening to Robert Glasper, and it's like there's been several different drummers, but when Chris does his little stuff,
You know.
and we all are like, man, like,
Yeah.
now you can't unhear it because you've made it that valuable. And so that's what I
Yeah.
want to do. Long story short, that's how I think. Like, when people call me, like, they know they're gonna get the song, they're gonna get the record, they're gonna get that integrity, but you also gonna get a little bit of the finesse of, like, but this is like that extra sauce that, like, I need that too.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna get in the way. It just helps the burger. The burger was already good, but like,
Right.
that's the Big Mac sauce on the.
Right.
That's what I want to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. That's dope, man. That's a perfect way of describing that, though. You're not. I find that when I hear guys, they're like, when I ask them, like, how'd you listen to this? Man, I was just listening to my part. I'm like, got it. So now I understand. You missed the whole picture. You only learned how to be a drummer. You didn't learn how to be a musician. And that's my segue back to a point you made about music being a team sport.
Yes.
It's important, and I would love to hear your ideology on this because you framed it that way, being a team sport. But what I notice is that if we just focus on our part, we've missed the team.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that kind of your space of where you navigate as well? Okay.
I agree. I think as a drummer, I feel like, just in general, but for any band person, I think if you really want to do this at a high level, you're always going to be doing it with a group of people. It's literally group one-on-one skills and just learning how to navigate doing stuff with a team.
Yeah.
I think can't conceptualize teamwork, then you can't really do this at the highest level, because what you do affects everyone else
Sure.
all the time. And especially on drums, like, even if you're not the MD on paper, bro, you're the unspoken MD, bro. Like, period. And I don't know how many times people can say that. MDs have said that.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times when people are like, well, I was just listening to the drum pattern. Yeah, I'm the same way. I think, you've missed it if you are only focused on what you're doing. You need to be focused on what you're doing to understand how it affects everything else.
Mm.
But you can't be focused only on that because you need to know what is happening with everything else. And yes, that's why I'm telling everyone, get into music production as a whole. Why did those producers do that? From like I know we just talked about D-Mob, but like Camper, from all of these different who are producing people now, but that produced people then, Rodney Jerkins,
Yeah.
Tricky Stewart, L.A. Reid, Babyface, all of these things, like Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Why did they do that with these songs? Because you want this specific thing to feel a certain way. So like if you don't understand why the bass player pattern does that with the drums and how the vocal sits right in that spot and like
Yeah.
and then like sonic spaces and stuff like that and understanding that, then yeah, you're gonna miss it. And unfortunately, bro, in this industry, what people are paying you for is to already know.
Right.
And so to anybody that wants to be doing this, like if you don't already know enough, then it's going to be gone before it even happens, because when you get in these rooms, people are expecting you to know, man. And I don't know how many times to say that, because I really want people I want people to make it. I want people that really
Yes.
tour. I really want to see people win. I really do. And a lot of the times it's so simple, it's too complex,
Right.
because it's like when
Yeah.
people are like, this is what it takes to like. And yeah, you tell them, they're like, man, it's gotta be. And it's like, no, it's actually like these couple of principles, like if you can lock in on those and like stay consistent with that, you'll be good.
It'll be
But then
solid.
you get a couple opportunities, and then now you showing up with a little more entitlement, and then now you showing up late, and then all of the stuff that if you just kept doing that stuff, you would never worry about. But as long as we can focus on those beginning areas, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, serve the music. Be intentional with that, and hopefully I would say that this doing what you do in music should really honestly just model how you are in life.
Mm.
And the more you're focused on living life in a intentional way,
Sure.
in a grounded way, whatever your belief may be, I feel like that's what's ultimately going to put people where they need to be, because that's really the thing. It's like who you are when you off that instrument anyway, like that's what people are gonna feel
Yes.
when you're on it. So lean into that. But yeah, man, I think for people that want to get into this, learn about all the instruments, learn about the grand scape of music, so that way when you get in these opportunities, it's easier to go straight to what you should be doing.
Yep.
But yeah, man.
And people can now, you can go watch this stuff now. Producers are showing, bro. Ryan Leslie was one of the first people I saw as a producer show his whole process.
Yeah.
And that was eye opening for me, because I realized how much I wasn't hearing all of the music.
Yeah.
When you can watch someone program this little synth that it then becomes panned all the way to the left that has a reverb on it. It's like, when I can watch you play it, I know what I'm listening to. And for musicians who have common folk as, a significant other or friends, it's when you're playing something and your friend is like, well, I didn't even hear that. That's the moment for you as a musician. You need to be able to hear everything. So to Josh's point, if you can go back and watch a producer, T-Pain will literally do his entire process on stream. You can watch it.
I love it.
So
Yeah.
it's like, if you can watch it now, you don't have to necessarily learn how to hear it. They're showing you what you should be listening right now.
Absolutely.
And then you can apply it more. So for people who may not be able to, when Josh is saying immerse yourself in the music, this is what he's talking about. Is like learning how to hear the intricate details, learning how to hear that seventh background harmony that is, tucked all the way in the back. Because then
Yeah.
when he's playing a verse and it might be a boring verse, if he can accent that seventh BGV back there,
Right.
that's when an artist is like, oh, you listening. Okay.
You really listening.
Yeah, you hear me. Okay. Yeah.
And that leads to more things when they know that you listen to that, because it's like, oh, you really care about the whole thing as a whole. You're not just back there playing drums. And then that leads you to more doors for everybody that wants to do more. Like, just get in the room and do the first thing well, and like you'll get the other calls for the other stuff. But yeah, man, bro. Again, a
Yeah,
lot of this stuff is stuff we could stay on. But yes, when I say immerse, it's definitely that. Like, get into the details.
for sure. Now you've had a crazy career so far working with a wide variety of musical directors. How did you navigate that? Because every MD is very different.
Yeah.
Their standards are the same. They still want excellent. They still want the product to be phenomenal. That the standards the same, but I call it their ecosystem.
Right.
DJ has a certain way he wants to work. T-Vaughn has a certain way he wants to work. Every MD is going to have a way to a certain work. So how have you navigated that? Because that's not easy.
Yeah. So the same way people that get paid that are actors and actresses, I'm not saying you have to act, right? The point I want to make is there's different characters that people play in different places. And so as a musician, my versatility has to be in a place with all the different MDs that I work with, where it's like, I already know what they're looking for this sound. So instead of me coming into it with my ideology of what it should be, I go straight to that thing where it's like, when I'm working with Daniel, like, he don't mind me like being creative and stuff, as long as like for the majority of what we're doing, I'm like locked into what the song is and the feeling of what that song is.
Yeah.
He could on it, like, he know that I got chops, but he does not care out of context. And a lot of the stuff that we've done, like, there's been times where I remember, I'll never forget, we was doing this Jagged Edge segment on the Black Music Honors. And I would do stuff like there was this part at the end that had hits in it. It was like 4 bars of basically an outro. Bro, I took all 4 bars in sound check. I mean, I'm gone.
Yeah, out of there.
Just letting them have it, right? And but I was like, at least let me do this. And then if he's like, yo, like, cut it to a bar or 2 bar, whatever. So yeah, bro, that joint got cut to like a bar. And like right before the last one. And I wasn't sensitive. Like, I wasn't like mad. Like, no, like, this is what it
Right.
is. I was prepared to just go and then let him pull me back.
Okay.
Cool. So that's our dynamic. Now with T likes tasteful stuff in different things, and like that sneaky style approach where, like, with Reneé and other stuff I've done with him, where I can get in and get out, but it's still about the pattern. It's still about the song, and then doing other things around. Because T doesn't really care for him and Daniel. They neither one of them really care for like the super like fast chops, like the
Yeah.
super 30-second notes and stuff. They do not care about that stuff. And when I've heard it back, when I've done stuff like that, I also didn't stop caring, because then I'm like, it don't actually fit. I'm getting off, but like that, like, it don't fit.
Yeah, it doesn't
So
work.
what we're doing, but yeah, everyone has a different thing that they like. But instead of me just like trying to see if they're gonna bend, I just go straight to it. And then if they're like, "Oh, bro, you can
go. Yeah.
you could," then I was like, then cool. But I don't come to them in the energy of like, I'm gonna just try something new each time I'm with them. I'm like, no, I know who they are.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I'm gonna do that. And that's kept me working with them, instead of just, being like, man, well, I'm gonna just do me. It's like, okay. Yeah, no.
Crib. Go.
At the crib.
Yeah, you're
But
going straight to the crib.
But yeah, bro, every MD I've ever worked with, once I understand what they care about, I then take on that. Like, okay, well, I should care about this. And then ultimately it ends up changing my ear too, because you
Yes.
start to value things a little bit differently. And both the guys I'm talking about are producers as well, outside of doing musical direction or arranging. So it's like, they have a thought process where it's like, no, but this is why live, this elevates it a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, man, I definitely go in and like play that character. Like, so
Yeah.
with Daniel, I'm this character. With T, I'm this character. And then when I'm MDing my own stuff, I'm like, man, I have a little bit of that in my thing.
Yes.
And then even with DJ, like, cause we started doing some stuff and like same thing. It's like there's a thing that he's, and of course you know,
Yep.
but like, yeah, everybody got their thing. And it's like, all right, just tap into that thing.
It really is that, because it's not performance based of a character. It's you have to take on their care, if that makes sense, because
Absolutely.
when they're calling us and we're assuming we're just being instrumentalists, they're really calling us to be executioners of their vision.
Right.
We don't have thoughts, right? We have influence and we have ability to execute, but if Daniel's telling you to do one thing or T-Von says to do something and DJ says to do something different, well then, okay, that's just what's going to have to happen right now. But you learn their care, because I know DJ does not like all that fast stuff either. He's not with it. He likes powerful Aaron Spears chops. Give
Absolutely.
me power.
That's stuff that's gonna cut through everywhere.
Every time. And as soon as you go to Finesse World, I'm like, my bad, bro. He's like, yeah, what you doing, man? Go for it. But you have to take their care on, because now when T-Von's making this thing or Daniel's making this thing, and meaning they're arranging it, they're programming it, they had the conversation with the artists and creative and all these people, they know the whole picture. You don't. You only see what they told you. So now when they're telling you, yo, Josh, I need you to go here, or Josh, I need you to do something different, you're trusting that they have the full picture in mind. Because then when you get there, it's like, okay, now I understand. When I went out to the front of the house and you sit next to Tim listening back to something, you're like, okay, now I see why this was what it was.
Absolutely. No, that's what it is, man. And then yes, thank God for friends like Tim Hibbert, where it's like, hey man, just come out the front of the house, man. Come listen. And no, I mean it helps. He don't, obviously that's my dog, so we joke around and
all day,
and rag on each other all day, but like it really is all love. And it's a growth thing where it's like, hey bro, like some of this is cutting, some of this ain't cutting. Like you may think it is, but like no, bro. But yes, with different MDs and different people, like it's important to like tap into their care. That was the best way. I've never actually heard it said like that, but that's what it is. Because a lot of people don't understand, like with these different gigs and opportunities, like people are calling the people that they're calling, one, because they like that person cares as much as them, and that they can just trust you. Like a lot of people treat these gigs, because it is the same way someone else is going to a 9-to-5. This is our livelihood. So like if you show up and like mess this up, like you're messing up someone's livelihood.
Their dream. They're how to provide for this. Yes, all day.
So that's why this thing is so cutthroat, and why people are like, man, this industry's so clicked up. And it's not clicked up, bro. And if it is, it's clicked up for a reason. But it's not that it is clicked up. It's like, no, people got the people they rock with because they know they're gonna get the same thing every single time.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's why you call the same people, because you don't need it to go bad. I actually can't afford for it to go bad, not one time.
Yeah, and they're busy. You know, T-Von is not just at the crib twiddling his thumbs right now.
No, he's not.
That's not how this works. So when he gets into a space, he's calling Josh because Josh can get this across the finish line quickly. Yes. And the least amount of time we got to spend in this room, the better.
The better. And like, also he gonna send me stuff and like how do the drums sound? Are they already done? Like, cause he ain't finna sit there and edit me. And was the trigger where it needed to be and all, bro, nobody's finna do that, bro. Like all of that being said, that's what it is. Cause that's another long discussion, but it's just like, yeah, man, like,
I'd love to dive down if you're okay with it, man, because there's a thing that we always, well, at least I hear often. There's a lot of gatekeepers and I can't get in, and they always.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I would love to hear your mindset on, because you sprinkled on it, a little bit.
And it's kind of come up several times in the conversation because like it's a thing where like, you know, again, like kind of that like that gangster mentality where it's like there's a unit and this is how we do things and
Yeah.
like mafia. Like
Right.
seeing American Gangster with Denzel Washington, like
One of my favorite movies.
same. Like
Yep.
are there gatekeepers? Yes. Is that a bad thing? No, it's not a bad thing. And the reason is not because there's a certain standard and there's a certain integrity that music has always had.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, because of desperation,
Mm.
some people diminish the value to just get on or do whatever it is. And it's like, so that's why people will take a gig or take an opportunity that doesn't pay well
Mm-hmm.
just because of your hunger to just and your desperation to be on something. Or that's why you'll cut corners with how you learn music or different things and
Yep.
not it to your best of your ability. So yes, we have gatekeepers because there's the integrity that needs to be upheld. Do I think we shouldn't have gatekeepers? No, I'm not gonna say that because every level of music and every level of business has a gatekeeper.
Yes.
Now, the thing that people should be asking is not why do we have gatekeepers, is how do I get through to a gatekeeper?
Right.
And that's the better question because you put the power on yourself to then become what's necessary to poke through.
Yeah. Yep.
When you're from a mindset of why do we have gatekeepers, you've already lost. Your mentality
Right.
is a winning mentality because you feel frustrated and more like on the defense. And it's like, no, like, how can you grow to the point where the gatekeeper is like, I need them?
Yeah.
Because to be honest, bro, like even with in the media world, as far as like movies and television and film, like there's gatekeepers everywhere. Tyler Perry is a gatekeeper, Oprah, all these people, right?
Yes.
But how many people have they blessed? How many people have worked with those gatekeepers and become a gatekeeper for themselves?
People don't ask themselves why. Why are they gatekeeping the information? Why are they gatekeeping this thing? And all to your point, it's really just the ecosystem. You know, I've learned, I saw this early on and I didn't know what I was seeing, but I took away some valuable nuggets from it. I couldn't articulate it the same way I'm going to, but I got a privilege of watching Adam Blackstone and they were rehearsing for Versus and Flow, the TV show that was happening way back in the day. One of my close friends, John Witt, they were rehearsing in Philly and I lived in Delaware at the time. So it was up the street.
Gotcha.
And John was so gracious to even ask if I can come in and just observe. I went in with the mindset of shutting the hell up, sitting down, and just let me see what I see.
Right.
So I watched Adam need something from James, who was running monitors at that time.
James.
And James said to him, it's already there. And I immediately said to me, that's why he called him. Because he had they were running the song down, and once the song completed, Adam was like, "Hey James, can we get this here?" He was like, "It was already there." Because during it, James heard it, knew it needed to happen, and immediately did it. That's why James got the call. That's why everybody in that room gets the call. That's why Josh is getting the call. That's why your favorite musicians, your favorite playback engineers, your favorite monitor engineers, your favorite PMs, TMs, road managers, everybody across the board, when they're getting these calls over and over again, it's because of their intuition. They understand their ecosystem, what they need. Chris Pooley calls the Sing American Idol band for a reason.
Absolutely.
It's because these men and women are going to knock this out. They're not going to complain. They're not going to be, oh my God, this is so many songs. And they're just going to get it done.
Right.
That's why. You know, that's why you see the same people doing all this other stuff. But here's a newsflash. There's room for you. Like, well, there's a need for it. Because there's times where I'm hitting our group chat. Yo, anybody know anybody that's available to do this? You know, and y'all will send names and things like that to do whatever. But this is real. It's like we need people, but not at the expense of the quality going down. That's the difference of what these people are gatekeeping. To me, they're protecting their name and their dream and their vision. And I see nothing wrong with that. You know, nothing at all. And there's one other question I would love to ask you topic wise, if you got some time for it, is
no, for sure.
You
shoot.
There's a standard that is out here that we'll hear, I want to say standard. Let's say this. There is some phrases and mantras that are out here of you're diluting the game, or y'all younger cats are messing up the industry by taking
yeah.
gigs and doing all this other stuff. So I've been toying with this concept because, bro, we want to help. Our fundamental
Yeah.
being is that we want to help. So I'm like, how do we teach them a standard that was never defined? Right?
Yeah.
So here's what I mean. If we want to be teachers, right? There is a trajectory. You go to school, go for 4 years, you at least have to get a bachelor's. And if you want a different pay scale, well, the state has decided that this is what you need to get this pay scale, and then go from here. And then you can go to college, you can be an adjunct, right? There's a trajectory, and we can Google off of
Yeah.
the state website what their numbers look like. Of course,
Yeah.
they can negotiate more. Of course, there's tier systems in there, but we don't have that for musicians. We couldn't right now say, if you go to a club gig, this is on an average range of what you should get paid. There's
Right.
nothing right now that says if you take an arena gig, this is what should get paid, right?
Yeah.
How do we help this if we don't define it, right? Do you have any thoughts on this idea? And I'll add this. It's tough to tell someone not to take something when whatever they're making at the crib is going to be less than what it'd been to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if they're in that position and they haven't done the thing that they feel like they should be doing, which is the opportunity that's calling. I mean,
Right.
I agree. Certain things have not been defined as far as what the industry standard of each role and what it pays. I think if people care about longevity, then you care about relationships, and then you have to. I'll put it like this: me being a teacher, when people ask me, I tell them based on the relationship that they're bringing up and with the opportunity itself. I ask them based on where you are and where you see yourself going. Does this help you in your trajectory?
Okay.
If it helps you in your trajectory, then you have to think twice about saying no, even if it's not paying what it could be. Because if I tell you it's not paying enough, I could be telling you it's not paying enough for me.
Sure.
But that's after all of the stuff that I've already done. So
Right.
no, it actually may be a great price for them at that point. However,
Yeah.
or even when I was at that point, right? But I do understand that, like, no, like I would tell somebody the truth and be like, hey, like if you're gonna do a tour, like you wanna be around, like as a teacher, I'm gonna give someone like a a quick class on like, hey, you wanna be around here.
Yeah.
Like even starting out, you wanna be around this number, do you wanna be around this day rate, you wanna be around this per diem, you wanna be around this.
Yeah.
But if they can't offer that, then I'm like, okay, for your trajectory, how do you feel like if you don't do this that you're not missing out on anything, or that
Mm,
do you feel like if you don't take it you're going to miss out on more because whoever the MD is could lead to more. And so there's a lot that with music that we have to keep in mind.
yeah.
And it's frustrating at a certain point because yeah, you could do a gig and it's like, but we all trust God, so it's like he gonna provide, and so I don't need to just take anything. But it's like, yeah, you don't need to take anything, but there's some things you do need to take. And I think a lot of what the younger generation, what they're gonna find is like I think what it is, a lot of people don't like the phrase "pay your dues." Like you're gonna have to pay your dues because that's what it is. Paying your dues is like actually doing the thing that should have paid more.
Right.
And it's like, it's not that it wasn't a cool opportunity. It was just that it didn't pay what it could have paid.
Sure.
But that's not a reason for you not to do it. Like my first tour paid, before the Tyler Perry thing, my first tour paid $800 a week.
Bro.
And I'm just putting it out there because I'm like, I was doing a Redemption of a Dog. It was Snoop Dogg's play on his life.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a play with Jakaris Johnson. I'll never forget. Was I making $800 a week at home? Nope.
Nope.
My rent was actually dumb cheap. And that was more than rent a week doing that tour. So I
Right.
took my on that road. Was that tour the most amazing as far as how it felt and all the accommodations? No. But if I stayed at home, there wasn't a guarantee that I was going to make that amount of money a week. And at that
Sure.
time, me and my homie had a house that we were splitting. We were splitting the rent. It was like $475 for me. So
Right.
making 800 a week, I win it.
Yeah, out of a week, all your bills was paid and more.
Every bill, every single
Right.
bill. So yeah, at that time, it made sense for me to take an 800 a week job.
Right.
At this point in the game, that's not paying gas in Atlanta right now. Because it's as high as LA gas.
Yeah, that's a fact, man.
But yeah. So with that being said, I would never shy someone away from an opportunity if they've never done something like that.
Sure.
But I wouldn't. I would always base it off of their circumstance because you have to base it off of you.
Right.
It can't be well. They was making this with Janet, but that's Janet. You going out with such and such who just was on their first tour.
Yeah, man. Yes, sir.
And
Yep.
your day rate ain't finna be $2,000 a day.
No.
It's not. It's not gonna be that. And can that happen one day? Yeah, but like, is that what it is right now? No. And my thing is, my biggest thing to people is whatever gig you do say yes to, you cannot get on and complain after you say yes to it. Like, because
Yeah.
that be the thing, that's really the main thing. Like, people be like, man, I'm gonna just do it and then get on it and then now be frustrated. And it's like, no, like, that's why in the beginning, you need to recognize, is this something that is going to propel me forward? Is this something that I can make something for myself? Like, one thing for me, even with content, bro, like from those TV shows I was doing, I took that stuff and was like, I'm going to science experiment on myself and just post and be consistent.
Yeah.
And what that led to my following. That led to other things, but I was cool. Even like those shows at that time compared to now paid two different things. Like when we first started, it wasn't like the most amazing pay, but was it? And I'm not saying that it wasn't good pay, but from what I would hear about,
Right.
which is
right.
why for everybody to not get caught up in what you hear. But like that thing from where it started to where it is now, and shout out to Daniel for a lot of that stuff. Like, and a lot of the things that we've done, he's been an advocate for pay raises and different things, but like, it was the opportunity.
Yeah.
It led to the exposure. It led
Mhm.
to the visibility. But yeah, I think it's just people understanding that like there is no right or wrong price. There is more so of is there a right or wrong price for you?
For you. That's fair.
You know, if you got kids already and a wife, I would think about your time in a different way and
Yes.
value of your time. If you're single and maybe you have a roommate or you don't, all right, cool. I definitely feel like if I had to just put a number with stuff though really quickly for people, like if you're playing a gig for a day rate with an artist, in general, I feel like a good rule of thumb, just in general, like
Mhm.
being as close to $500 a day for a day rate is amazing.
Yep.
Like to start with any artist, at least that would be great. For a lot of artists, I would definitely bring it up much higher than that. But like, I feel like if you've never done a gig, if you've never done a tour, and you go from making this amount of dollars a day
Yeah.
to $500 a day. Now in LA, that may not make the most sense, but here in Atlanta
Sure.
or in Philly or somewhere else where like the cost of living is not the same,
Yep.
that goes a good bit of a way. And obviously I feel like money is obviously a conversation that people need to be more open to having. But I feel like just now I'm not counting per diem in that. I'm just saying like in general, like a good rule of thumb is like for me and what I tell people all the time, like shoot high and let someone tell you no.
Right.
Ask them what the budget is or
Yeah.
for your rate, shoot. But don't not put yourself out there and if they can't do it or something. Cause that's another thing. I think being rejected is a fear. So like people are just like, I'm not going to say what it is that I really want because they're going to probably say no anyway. So then you're like, I'll take $200 a day. And they're like, cool, but they would have paid you $7.
Yeah. I said, don't be scared to have the money conversation, because
Yeah,
before
don't.
you even got the call, they already had the money conversation.
Right.
That's the biggest thing people forget, is like before they called you, they've already said we want a band, and they've already allocated funds of some kind for the band. Now they may have to go back and say, okay, well, we got Josh Foster, who's this, and this, and he needs whatever. All right, can we move this money
Can we
around?
do that?
Right. And they might finesse it. You know, if the MD's really going to bat for you, or they understand your value, they might finesse it. But
Yeah.
to Josh's point is, if you undercut it and they already allocated, let's say, because we're saying the number $500 a day, if they've already allocated $5 and you were scared and you threw out 200, they like, oh, bet. They're now, once again, the TM's responsibility is to save as much money as possible.
It's possible. Yeah.
That's their job. So you can't get mad at them for doing their job. Their job is that. So if they saying, cool, well, I was able to save us an extra $300 a day, the real management is like, yo, our TM is killing it right now. They sound an extra, $2,100 a week they were able to find.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, this is showbiz. It ain't show friends. And so, like, which is why, and I'm not saying that, like, people should just stay at that number. What I'm saying is we're just using that number as an example. But yes, it's like, yeah, like, ask what the budget is and see what they say. And then if it's like, again, get you a mentor, an OG.
Yes.
What the budget is. And then text your OG or your mentor and be like, hey, I got called to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
Yep.
And most of the time, an OG is not thinking about them being on the gig. They're thinking about, what does that do for you? And they're like, they answer it based on you. And they're like, actually, man, like, you should do that.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
That's not too bad. You should do that. Or something else will come, man.
Right.
What people got to be okay with is when the OG says something else will come.
Right.
And you shouldn't take it, because when people don't take an opportunity, I noticed that with a lot of young homies, and like opportunity don't go through. Before I did that first tour, guess what? My first tour I ever went on, it lasted 1 week and we was sent home.
Sheesh.
So that was my first experience with touring. And I remember he said, damn, bro, don't worry about it. You gonna do something else. Exactly a year from that is when the Tyler Perry thing happened.
Wow.
So yeah, man, like, be okay with them being like, nah, brother, I think you should sit this one out. Something else better will come. But yeah, no, man, text that homie, that OG, bro. Like, text someone that's been there, so that way you also don't shoot yourself in the foot. And that's what people are talking about when they talk about undercutting and all of that thing. It's just like, you are not getting the value of that job, regardless of this your first time doing it or you've been in the game for a while. At a certain point, this opportunity should be paying this.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. But it's just like, but if you got a mentor in your life that you can talk to, then they can help you with that. Because, or like, honestly, like, if people don't all have a mentor, like, and it ends up being one anyway, but a big sis or a big bro, it's the same thing. If someone in proximity to you is touring and doing a lot of recordings, and you look at their life, they got a nice crib, they got a nice car, they living.
Yeah.
You should be asking questions about what they.
Yeah.
Does this pay well? Because bro, like, look at people's life.
They're real life, not the highlight reel on Instagram.
Not the highlight reel. Look at their real life, bro. Like, look how they pull up game is, and you know what I'm saying, you go to their crib, like how they live, and I know some of it is not like, there's some people who are like very modest that make a lot of money that won't show a lot of stuff. So but when you go to their home, like, you gonna know. When you know who's who, because they move a certain way, and it's like, those are the people you should be asking, like, hey, what do you think about this? And for me, I got several. One big brother I didn't name that I want to give his flowers to is Dre Bowman. Andre Bowman. Because I just thought about that as it relates to talking about rates and stuff. Like, I've talked to Dre about stuff forever. But amazing playback engineer, producer, bass player. Y'all, for those of you that do or don't know, Gaga, Ariana Grande,
Insane.
did Usher, did everything. He works with Natural. Natural's amazing. The whole crew is amazing. But Andre Bowman is like, when I say like family, he's been very vocal to me as far as like, hey, like I've brought up that conversation to him several times. Like, is this cool? That cool? Whatever. He's like, yeah, no, but you should do that. Or
Right.
I don't know. For you, maybe, I don't know. And if he does that, then it's all right. And or if he put the ball in my court, cool. But he's been a big bro that's comfortable with making that conversation comfortable. So then it makes me feel like, okay, I can do that. And same thing with Daniel, same thing with Terrence, man. But Dre has been very influential in that.
Yeah.
And Terrence has always been that way, man. Like, hey, man, don't ever be afraid to talk business because it's business. It's more business than it is music.
Yes.
Anyway. So yeah, bro, like you said, these TMs, they already know what it is. If they can save a coin, they're gonna save a coin.
They gonna save it, man. I think that the mentorship has kind of been our
that's the anchor.
You know, that's where we're at. But for people who don't even have a mentor, so many musicians offer consultations. Pay for it.
Hey, bro,
just pay for it. You know, and if you become a cool cat, I've done it. I still do it. You know,
Yep.
if there's some information out there that I really need to know and I don't know that person, I don't necessarily want to use. I can use my resources and I have my friends be like, "Dog, you're enough to now. You don't have to." But still, I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm gonna just pay you for your time, bro. Just because I want your undivided attention. I don't want you to give me the generic. Oh man, you be good, bro. You save that.
Right.
I just want the real now. And if I pay you for your time, we now agree that this hour block, we locked in for a second.
Absolutely.
And it helps so much. So for anybody who doesn't necessarily have a DJ, a John Witt from me, like all these people, bro, pay for it, man. I paid Brian and I still would pay Brian over and over and over and over again anytime because he is a wizard.
He is. He invited me to the crib. Like we've had our moment. I've had a lot of moments with a lot of people.
Yeah, man.
I had my time with Teddy. I've had my time with Spud. I've had my, and even more with Spud. Like it's growing, which a lot of people don't even know because we from the same place, Dallas, Fort Worth.
Right.
A lot of our relationship has been since I've lived there and in my trajectory now versus when I grew up. And
sure.
But yeah, like I think having these different people to talk to, and it's important. And I would tell people too to pay for it, and like because then now it's like your respect for it and your hunger for that wisdom and knowledge is a good place where you sow into that, and then like that's gonna actually help you. Oh, I mean, especially like what you said, even with Brian and just like different people who've been doing this joint for so long, where it's just like it's undeniable. And if you don't go, that doesn't change Brian's life.
No.
It just doesn't. Like he's still gonna be doing it. And it's just like, and there's a lot of mentors and people in my life that nobody else will have certain access to that I wish they would have that access to. And that's why I'm like, if you can find someone who's willing to give that knowledge, bro, like hold on to it, because that's not another thing Rick Wofford would always say is mentors don't seek mentees.
No.
But mentees think that way, where it's like, well, they should. Nope. Mentees go after mentors. Rick Wofford say that all the time, bro. Like, and people had that messed up because that's the entitlement thing. But it's like, man, if you can help yourself and get with one, bro, I got so many sayings and so many things from all of these dudes where it's just like, man, if you follow these roadmaps right here, you gonna be good. And they tell me when I see it, it's not something that I'm saying for myself. They're like, man, Josh, you man, I'm really proud of you doing what you're supposed to do. You listen.
Yeah, you listen.
So then they want to give you more information because they're like, all right, well, the last thing I told him he's doing. So because some people don't know that some of their mentors are actually testing them to see if they can call them for a gig.
It's always that.
It's always
that.
But nobody really thinks that way for the most part. Like I've seen people like it be like, and I'm like, man, like a part of the reason I can't call you to fill in for me is, and because a lot of people ask that question, and I'm just like, it's how you think.
It's also a weird question. That's also a weird question.
I mean, it's only a weird question because the fact that you like, if you see already this, especially if you're close to me, like if you get close enough where it's like, you see the stuff that I'm doing to do the things that I'm doing. And I'm not saying you have to play like me or approach stuff like me, because I'm never thinking that way. And I don't think any other person who wants to help someone is thinking that way.
Right.
It's so of the same conversation about the MDs and the
Mhm.
level of care. When we see something in someone else, and when a mentor sees something in us, it's like they see the hunger to be excellent and to care and all of these things. And they're like, bro, I'll get this dude like anything. I'll get this girl anything. Like I know mad people that are cool with doing that. But yeah, bro, I mean, that's really what that is. I mean,
Yep.
it's that simple. For the people who have mentors, keep applying yourself with them. For the people who don't, I would get it. And then to your point earlier, if there's no one in your proximity, there's so many YouTube videos of different people talking about what they're listening for, what they value, what they're like, and then use your social media and use your presence to build on the thing that you've been seeing that works
Yeah.
for what you want to be doing, not for what's working for the other person. What do I, John Doe, want to do? And then now I apply that to me, and then watch God do the rest of the stuff, because now you're activating your faith by actually doing something.
Yeah.
And then he can come in and then like add this stuff. But like, yeah, bro, there's too much information out here now to work. There's too much
Yeah.
opportunity to work. Like, but yeah, the same people are gonna keep getting called until our generation and the generations on continue to like shift the mentality to like what matters. And as
Yeah.
that mentality shifts, more opportunity will come and more,
Absolutely.
So
I
yeah,
love
man.
that. I know I got to
Mhm.
get you out of here, but I would love to also talk about your artistry, man, because
Oh yeah.
the world knows how phenomenal you are as a drummer, right? That's what we know. But
Yeah.
dog, your artistry's phenomenal, man. So is that always been a goal for you? Is that been your primary for where's your head at with it? And talk about your artistry, man,
So
because we got to
no,
promote this.
I appreciate it, and so a lot of people obviously, so which I'm glad I'll say it here is the first time I'm saying it, but like because people go to my page, like a couple of people didn't understand, like even me changing it to abbreviate it. It's my last name. I'm
Right.
going by Foster, but it's Foster World is the only thing that was available because Foster wasn't available.
For sure.
Me to use. But in my artistry, I feel like, a drummer is who I am. There was a time when I was trying to figure out how to like rebrand to where it was just me as an artist, regardless if I'm playing drums or whatever. And it just it didn't feel genuine. And I remember my mother-in-law and I had this conversation, and she was like, when I said something like, I'm more than a drummer, or, and I was on my rant one day just about how I see myself and all of that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
she was, Josh, like, nothing's wrong with that. Like, I understand, like, you're a businessman, you want to get in all these things and that have nothing to do with music solely, but you are a drummer, and that's great. Like, and so like I said, with being at home, I've been in that space of gratitude of like what drums has actually done in my life.
Right.
So my artistry will forever be attached to that.
Sure.
The song I put out, "You Remind Me," is a cover of Patrice Rushen, and I did that because I wanted to now show people me playing and singing, and like, okay, where is he? Like, all right, well, he's bringing us into something. Drums is always going to be a part of it, and the instrumentation will be there. My original stuff, bro, I'm very excited to share. I plan on dropping an album this fall.
Great.
And I plan on touring as an artist. I plan on doing my own tours. It'll be with a band.
Let's go.
But yeah, man, I I've always felt like there was more for me than just playing drums. I'm a producer. I look at myself as like I just love all of music. Like, so playing drums, what people experience from me while playing drums is ultimately how much I care. That's what people are experiencing. It's like I care about every note. So that's why when you go see videos and stuff, or if it looks like I'm kind of dancing and all of that, it's like, or like the feeling is all the way in it. Like my playing is very emotional because it is that, but my artistry is the same thing where it's like, okay, I'm not gonna claim myself to be anybody's best singer or anything like that. But I understand that the message I have is for a lot of instrumentalists that may not ever do this, which
Right.
I want to inspire instrumentalists that are gifted at several different things to like go after their thing, go after whatever it is. And for me, I just like creating music. I like production. So yes, my artistry is an avenue where I can like just do my thing.
Right.
Because, for instance, a lot of people that are aware of the after party, we did that. The last one we just did was, I did two. I did one in 2024 and then one in the top of this year, 26. And this last one I just did was the last time I'm just going to do like covers and we play stuff in it. This next one is literally going to be original music.
Let's go.
I plan on turning that into a festival. I plan on like doing a lot of other stuff, but jumping into artistry is like, bro, like I know there's a lot of guys and girls with a voice that they just won't use it because it's cool. You can make a living doing what we do.
Yeah.
And if you want to do that, I say go for it.
Yes.
Me and Jermaine Poindexter had that conversation all the time.
Yep.
We've known each other since Berkeley, and we've talked, and he knows too. Like, I've told him what I wanted to do and with my artistry and different things, and he was like, bro, like, you can do it, but don't ever for 1 second think that you couldn't do it from drums. And a
Right.
lot of that stuff is what stays with me, where it's like, that's my superpower.
Yeah.
So my art, and then I started thinking, okay, well, what took me so long to even be okay with it and should I go is because like, but we already have Anderson .Paak. We already have Phil Collins. We already have Larry Blackman. We already have Maurice White. We already have all these band leaders and bands and different people. We have Ghost Note. We have all of these things where you're playing and singing or rapping or whatever. But
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, but that's authentic to them.
To them, yes.
My
Yes.
sound
Yes.
is my sound. My music is a mesh between Phil Collins, D'Angelo, Prince, McGee, Dejan, like all of
Yeah.
that. Where it's like it's everyone music. It's not really musician music.
Yeah.
It's not instrumentalist music. It's the average listener music. Like it sounds good. The drummers are gonna love the drum tones.
Of course.
You know, and the musicians gonna love the sonics, but I want people who, you know, I want my family members. I want your cousin, your auntie to listen to it. And even when
Yeah.
they at the house and they just having a family gathering, and you can play my stuff in the background and like D'Angelo and all these other people we love, like we love it because of how it felt. So,
Yeah.
bro, with my artistry, I'm very excited about it. That's coming very soon. And my goal is either whether if not this year, 2027, I do plan on like doing a tour.
Great.
And my goal is in between touring with other artists. And of course, my wife is an artist, so I program her stuff, put her shows together. The goal for our household, bro, is for both of us as artists to be on the move, on the go. And that's what the future is going to ultimately hold. But in the meantime, I'm not, you know, not playing gigs or not doing stuff because I want to do my
Yeah.
art. No, it's just like Kenyon Dixon or, you know, mad other people who sing background for other people and then they go do their thing. And like
Yeah.
both Duran Bernard with Erica Badu. Like
Absolutely.
you do all the things. And
Yep.
then when your moment comes,
Yep. Go for it.
ride that wave, go for it. But that's where I'm at. That's where Foster is. That's where, you know, Josh is, I'm still Josh, but like my artist is Foster. Like that's what that is. And
Yeah.
so, you know, it's still me. It's
Right.
still me, but it's another layer of me. And
I'm
so,
excited.
man, I'm excited too, bro. I really am. Like,
Yeah.
I was just talking to a friend before this call, Eli in Boho, who plays bass. A lot of people, know him. Like he's amazing.
Yeah.
Cause I was gonna put out another cover before I dropped like the album stuff, and then I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna do it. He's like, bro, you got to, bro. I just did like 48 takes of this song. Cause he wanted it to be perfect. Cause
Right.
he don't need that many takes. But yeah, I think this new level, man, I'm excited about navigating that, and for a lot of the drummers and different people to just see, hey man, like whatever you put your mind to, like you can do. I'm a very optimistic person. I'm a very like, hey man, whatever the goal is, we going.
Yeah, let's get to it. Yeah.
But yeah, bro, I plan on doing it soon. So
I'm
I'll keep you
excited.
posted. Keep you
Please
posted.
do.
Yeah,
Please do. And we'll definitely promote all that for you as well, in addition to everything you're doing.
appreciate you.
That's important. I hope people understand a lot of what you're saying and really understanding that you've diversified yourself off of your instrument.
Yeah.
You're not just a drummer. You talked about programming, you talked about arranging, you talk about doing your production. You've talked about your lessons and consultations and
Yeah.
growing your branding, your social media stuff. It's like I know people love their instruments, and I feel you. Like I'm with you.
Yeah.
But to really make a living at this and have some solid ground to stand on, you do need to diversify yourself a bit.
You do, man. And until you do that, you won't see the biggest return on your investment. But once people do that, man, I think it'll start paying off in a very great way.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you, man, for having me and taking the time to have me on here. And because I knew it would happen at some point. For those of you who don't know, I hit Jarvis. I'm like, man, so I guess I can function. But
That's nonsense. That's complete
but no,
nonsense.
I really do appreciate it, man, because I feel like us creating this conversation and having it more and more for people to see from different people at every level is
Yeah.
very important. Because bro, I didn't see this. I didn't see a bunch of conversations. Like social media happened for everybody at the same time. So
Right.
and even YouTube and how big like podcasts and all of these things are where you can get all this information. Man, just think, rest in peace, bro. Aaron Spears. If more people heard Aaron talk, because like in the conversations I did have with him, and a lot of people can speak about those conversations,
Yeah.
this type of dialogue with him at that height of everything that was happening for him, and for most people that know him, know how sweet of a guy, like just like this
Yeah.
great guy, bro.
Everybody says that.
And I mean,
Everyone.
it's super genuine
Yeah.
and will take your head off on drums. But
Quick.
like just that kind of stuff, like us having this opportunity, man, is a really big blessing because all of these voices that you're bringing on here, it's a really a love to you and just like a shout out to you
Thank
for
you.
taking the time to create that space. Because sometimes as creators, we feel like I don't think I have all the tools to get started at whatever that is.
Yeah.
And you went on ahead and was just like, I'm gonna just do it.
Yeah, so get it done.
I'm gonna just get it done. And that's really all it is. And everything that we're saying, if you just the mindset shift to go. So thank you, bro, for having me and for having all the people that you've had. And because I've been able to watch and just see
Thank you.
just because you're yes and like I'm gonna do it, it's led to so much more. Even for you outside of drums and like the philosophical mind and like how you care about bringing community
Yeah.
and that thing, even in in the group chat and all of that too. So yeah, man, thanks again, bro.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just important. We didn't have a lot of that, and all to your point, that's the whole reason is that there's so much information out there, and then when people are asking questions like, "Where did you learn this from?"
Yeah,
Okay, we have to help you.
yeah,
So and bro, for some reason, everybody in our class right now is on this give aura,
yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
loving it. I'm loving every minute of it.
Me too.
I can text Kyrie, I can text you, I can text Clem, I can hit everybody
And
right
people,
now, and everybody's just down.
yeah, yeah.
You know, so thank you, man. I do appreciate it. So once again, Josh, you're one of my favorite people, bro. But I respect you. I'm proud of you. You know, I'm honored to call you a friend. I'm honored to watch you develop as a man and love your wife and be a good person. And bro, just thank you for just taking time. That was 2 hours of your time that you didn't have to take for us, man. But thank you for making the time, bro. It means
No,
a
for
lot.
sure. Thanks
My dog.
again. Thanks
My dog.
again. I
I
enjoyed my.
appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man.
Well,
Yeah.
everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, Josh Foster, man.
Off script.